Hey y'all, I'm Taryn with Sowing the City and welcome to my channel. As you can see, I'm outside and that's because I'm going to film my first garden tour of the season. I'm so excited to show you this. There's a lot going on in the garden. I still have some things to do. I still have some things to just get ready for the season, just minor things. But overall, I think it's ready enough for me to give you the first garden tour of the season. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay y'all, you can see I'm going to show you my first raised bed. I have about, as you can see, I have 4 custom built raised beds and 2 metal ones. Okay, so let's start with this one right here. As you can see in this bed, I have my sweet potatoes. Now, I will say I do have some other things aside from sweet potatoes, and that's just not on purpose. That's just like how it happened. You could see, let's see. Of course, that right there is a little weed. Like I do have some weeds trying to pop up. Not too many weeds, it could be worse, but there are a couple weeds. But that right there is a carrot. Yes, a carrot. That is a carrot. I do know how that got there. This is very odd, but somehow when fall came, last fall, I had just taken out the last sweet potato harvest, and I wanted to do something with this bed in the fall before I put it to bed in the winter. That probably wasn't the best idea, but anyway, I decided to plant carrots. And I actually didn't get that great of a harvest, probably because this soil was already so like exhausted from growing the sweet potatoes, and then I was trying to grow carrots. That wasn't a good idea, but this one carrot survived and it's still here, and it's looking quite well, if I might say so myself. So maybe we'll get a carrot harvest soon. I don't know, but that's that bed with the sweet potatoes. And the vines are growing, and hopefully they continue to grow and they'll spill out over here and it'll be great. Alright, so now we're going to start with this bed. This bed is doing well. I will say I did have something right there, and that was just another tomato. But the seedling just wasn't strong enough, I think, and it just kind of died back. But that's okay, because I have this tomato plant right here. I have this beautiful one right here. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Now, we had a bad storm. We've had a few strong storms, and I think this piece of it kind of broke off in the storm. So I think tonight when I get home, as sad as this makes me, I might have to just go ahead and break that off, because it's hanging on by a thread, and maybe transplant it right here and see if it'll do anything. Do y'all think I could do that? I don't know. But yeah. Then I have another one. Another tomato plant right here. Beautiful. It's very green, very lush and green. Of course, I have some marigolds right here. Now, these marigolds were transplants. They're doing okay. They're not getting as big as I thought they would, maybe because they're transplants. So I'm going to plant some marigold seeds myself. But this is some basil that is doing wonderful. Holy basil. Look at that holy basil. Okay, and here's another tomato right here. Of course, that one is empty because it died off. And then there's another small one right there. So overall, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomatoes in this bed. And I'm just so grateful with how green and lush everything is looking. Yay! Okay, so now we're gonna look at our second custom built raised bed. You can see, look at how lush this looks, just green. I love this so much. Green, green, green. So as you can see here, there's just so many tomatoes, and I'm just so grateful for it. Okay, right here you have a green tomato, well, a beautiful tomato plant. These are 2 different varieties. I can tell because of the way that the leaves look. The leaves look different. And so here's the thing. You're probably asking, these are beautiful tomatoes, Taryn, but what are the varieties? The problem is I can't tell you the variety, because when my dad was planting them, he goes so fast when he plants that he doesn't keep up with the label. So I genuinely don't know, but I do know that all of these tomato plants are of the heirloom beefsteak variety. Okay, they are all beefsteak for the most part. Some of them may also be like Roma varieties, but the majority are beefsteak. So I do know that. but I have quite a few tomato plants in this bed. I have one, and you can see that we have cages, so that should help you try to differentiate what plant is what. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we have 6 tomato plants in this bed. Okay, y'all, so this bed right here, this is a bed that my dad wanted to use to plant exactly what he wanted. The rest of these beds, I'm very peculiar about what I plant because I want to make sure that everything goes with everything. For example, I want to make sure that I have beneficial plants along with all the other plants that I put in these 4 and 5 main raised beds. So I can't just plant anything. So I let my dad have one bed particularly to himself where he can plant whatever he wants to plant, and it doesn't matter if it's a companion plant or not. He can just go for it. So that's what this bed is. And he put a pepper plant, one pepper plant, actually I'm wrong, he has 2 pepper plants and 2 tomato plants. Okay, 2 pepper plants and 2 tomato plants, and they're doing really well. And normally pepper plants and tomato plants don't really go together if I'm not mistaken, but he is doing really well right now, and they're looking healthy, and I'm just so happy, and lush and green. And you can see that we have a lot of mulch. We're using mulch this year more so than we've ever used it before, and that's really cool. I would say that it's working for us so far. We still have weeds, as you can see, like we still have weeds trying to pop up, but not as much. And as far as the harvest, you can see we have 1 actual sweet pepper right there, and it's looking really well. Actually, we have 2 right there and right there. How cool is that? So that's my dad's bed. Okay, y'all, so this is another raised bed we're gonna look at, the one right here. So it may look like there's not much going on. Honestly, up until like last week there wasn't, and that's because I had something completely different planted along the edges than what I have now. So before, I had actually had some squash in this bed. I had some zucchini, 3 zucchini squash and 1 yellow squash. And at first they were doing really well, but then it got to a point where they just stopped and they were stunted, and I think they were already starting to get eaten by one of the, you know, non-beneficial insects already. Like, I think they are already starting to get attacked, and I didn't feel like dealing with that, so I just took out the squash and I planted something else. So let's look at it. Okay, so right here you can see that some things are starting to pop up, and that would be a green bean plant. Okay, this is a blue lake pole bean. That's what I put right here and right there. That one's still trying to come up. I might replant that. Right here, right there, okay, and over here, right there. Okay, so I have 4 different blue lake pole beans that I planted, and luckily for me, they all germinated, so that's good. Sometimes that can be the hardest part, getting your plants to germinate. You can also see that I have 2 bushier type of plants right in the middle, and these are nasturtiums. These are so beneficial for your garden. These are called companion plants, and so these plants help to it helps to attract beneficial pests, but it also distracts the non-beneficial pests in your garden. So instead of attacking the plants that you want to harvest, they will go for the nasturtium plants. And you can also eat the nasturtium plants as well. I believe you can eat the leaves and the flowers. I think so. And they're just really pretty. You could see that one flower right there. This is a nasturtium flower. It's super pretty. See that? It's such a pretty color. So that's another bed. All right, let's move on. Okay, y'all, so this is the last of the raised beds that we will view. Look at how pretty that looks. Just so gorgeous. Beautiful. So this bed is really interesting because I have a few volunteer plants that popped up in this bed, and I was really shocked, specifically by one of the plants, because I didn't think it would do well in this particular season. But let's get into it. Okay, so look at this beautiful bed right here. Look at this. I guess we should start with the elephant in the room. This really big plant right here. You're probably like, what is this? This is a sunflower. This is a volunteer sunflower. It's stunning. I love this plant, one, because it just volunteers on its own, and I might post a video about that later. But when you have plants like sunflowers, it's really great because once you plant it one time, you won't have to plant it again, because eventually, maybe because of pollinators or because of birds, you will get plants popping up all around your garden each year, and I think that's so cool. So that's what this is. Now those are some weeds. I gotta pick them up. That's a pile of weeds that I pulled from the bed. We are using mulch, and I would say it's doing really well, but you do have some weeds that do pop up, so I'll pull them out. But you have some marigold right here. Now, I said earlier, these marigolds are transplants, so they're doing decent. I think if I plant them from seed, they'll do better. But then you also have this mustard green. Okay, look at this. This is another volunteer plant, and I'm just shocked. Not really that it's in this bed, because I did grow greens in this bed last fall, but I didn't think it would germinate in this particular season. They tend to do better in colder season, but yet here this is thriving. So beautiful. Like, what am I gonna do with one mustard green? I don't know. But you see that there, and then look at this. Look at that beautiful plant behind it. That is a marigold. That's what this is. But this one volunteered on its own. And now I did also have marigolds in this bed last year, but oh my goodness, I didn't think they would just, you know, come back on its own. Now right here you could see I have two more of those pretty plants that I just talked about in the last raised bed, and these are nasturtiums again. You see 1 and 2, and you can see like it's already getting beautiful flowers. Look at that. See that? So pretty. Just gorgeous, gorgeous. So I didn't really plant it just for the fact that it has beautiful flowers. I planted it for the fact that I said in the other bed that it's a companion plant and it will attract beneficial pests while distracting non-beneficial pests. So now right here we can get into the main reason why I have this bed, or the main plant that I put in this bed. Aside from the beneficial plants and the companion plants, I also wanted to grow cucumbers. So we have a lot going on in this bed. We have cucumber here, a bunch of cucumbers there, and 2 that are kind of hidden underneath that nasturtium. 1 right there, 1 right here, and 1 right there. Well, a few seedlings, and then that's another volunteer plant. All right, so let's go into what kind of cucumbers I planted. The cucumbers on this row right here, 1, 2, 3, these are Boston pickling cucumbers. These are of the pickling variety. These are probably one of my favorite varieties because it's just so delicious. It's so savory. The flavor is very strong and delicious. It's not too sweet, but it's also not too savory. It's like right in the middle, and you could pickle them, right? You could actually make pickles. Now, I've been growing this variety for 3 years. I've never made pickles. Hopefully this year will change and I will make my first round of like refrigerator pickles. I would love to do that. And then on this back row here, 1, 2, and 3, these are of the silver slicer variety, okay? Silver slicer. These are very, very sweet. Very sweet and delicious, and I love to grow them because they're just good to snack on and they're very hydrating. I also like to make green juice with them. So hydrating, okay? Okay, and that is a volunteer plant. That is a volunteer zinnia. Okay, a volunteer zinnia. Okay, there's also another volunteer zinnia right there. It's kind of hidden in between the marigold, but right there, that's a volunteer zinnia as well. Hey y'all, this might be my favorite part of the garden of all. Don't get me wrong, I love every part of this garden, but this bed is just so important to me because I'm just so excited about what we have growing. You probably can tell what we have growing if you know a lot about plants, but let's get into it. So right here we have our melons. These are all melons. So excited. Let's get into what exactly, like what varieties of melons that we're growing. So let's start with this right here. You may be wondering, Is that like a bag of soil in the ground covered with mulch? Yes, yes it is. My dad did this. He saw online that a man had opened up a bag of organic raised bed soil, directly sowed some seeds, and grew the melons like that. So he's trying to do that. And honestly, it's working pretty well for him, okay? As you can see, I think it's working pretty well for him. So we're gonna see how that does. That is the yellow crimson sweet variety. Yellow crimson sweet. And then, if you look at this row, you have about 3 more, I think, on this row. Yes, you have 1, 2, and 3. These are all doing well, knock on wood. This row is also the yellow crimson sweet variety. Yellow crimson sweet. I'm so excited. I grew yellow crimson sweet for the first time last year, and it was so delicious. It tasted like candy. So now that's my favorite variety. Seriously. Now, let's get to the last 2 rows. These last 2 rows right here, these are of the orange meat or orange flesh variety. It's hard for me to say the actual name of the varieties because they're just they have such odd names. But one of them, the majority of these orange meat varieties is the orangello variety. See, it's so hard for me to pronounce it 'cause I'm not sure if it's orangeglo or orangello. But either way, that's the variety that it is. And I got a lot of positive reviews off of this variety that I'm growing. They said it tasted like candy, like sherbet ice cream. I was like, okay, let's try it out. So that's what this is. These 2 rows right here. And you can see this one is doing really, 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 really well. See that? It's just doing well. It's already started to vine and I love it. So now we're going to move to another section of our garden, and we're going to talk about the fruit trees. Look at this. We're going to talk about these beautiful fruit trees. I'm really excited. I don't have as many fruit trees as I did last year, and that's okay. But we can talk about the few that I do have because they're doing really well. So let's start with this first one. Look at how nice this is. This is one of our peach trees. Looks really, really healthy. I don't actually water this tree myself. We've gotten a lot of rain, which I'm grateful for. So the rain just waters it on its own. I think I might want to put some mulch at the base of my trees. You know, like I have mulch a lot around here. I might want to put some mulch at the base of my trees because it is getting some weeds and like a volunteer plant. But overall, it's doing well. And look at these peaches. Look at those peaches. Super pretty. So many peaches. So when I touch the peaches, they are not soft yet, so they're not ready to be harvested. But as soon as they are, we're going to harvest them and make good use of them. I think they should be ready to be harvested maybe by the end of this month. But that's just the one peach tree. Let's go look at the second. I want you to look at my second peach tree. Look at this. Look at how beautiful that is. This peach tree is much taller now than it was last year. And of course, this was not started from seed. But when we got it, it was much smaller. And now you can see all these peaches on here. They are just so beautiful. And don't worry, these peaches are not ripe yet. Of course, I'm not going to harvest them when they're fully ripe. I'll probably harvest them when they start to get a little softness to them. But right now, they are still very hard. But because the color has started to come in on these peaches, I know that they will be ready in, you know, no time. Like, I'm thinking within a month, they will be officially ready for harvest. So I'm very excited about that. You can see that is our plum cut tree right there. Now that tree is relatively new. Granted, we've had it for 2 years, but it's still relatively new. And this is the first season where we've had our native trees outside all winter. I've mentioned this last year, but we did realize that it's important for our native trees to get some time outside in the winter so that they can get their, you know, like, I think it's called like resting hours or something, so that they can hibernate basically. And once they hibernate, when the springtime comes, it'll make them waken up and be able to produce more fruit. So this is the first time we did that, and this year we actually got 2 plum cots off of this tree. We've never had any harvest off of that plum tree, but this year we got 2. So I'm hoping that as the years go on, we'll get more off of that tree. Now right here, this section here is where most of my sweet peppers or bell peppers are. I'm really happy with how they're looking right now. Now I will say, I should have topped these peppers off, specifically those 2. Like, I really should have topped those off earlier, because what that means is when you top your peppers off, you cut off like the very tops of them, so that and maybe even the sides of them, so that the leaves and the stems will start to grow more so from the side, and it won't get so tall. Like right now it's just so tall, uncomfortably tall actually. They need some trellises. So what I did this past weekend was I actually topped them off as best as I could. So I'm gonna keep my eye on these to see if they actually start to grow more bushier and not so tall, especially that one. Especially that one. Yeah, it's really just so yeah, that's my fault. So hopefully I did a little help, you know, to it. I might top it off a little bit more on the sides, but hey, I'll just have to see what it does. But the rest are looking really good, because I did top those off, I believe. It's just these 2. All right, and so this is the other tomato section. So you know I have, excuse me, 2 raised beds there with tomatoes, and then I have some more right here. These are looking so good, except for that one. You can see that one is starting to turn yellow really bad, and that's because we've gotten so much rain, at least twice a week, heavy rain, sometimes 3 times a week, and it just got a lot. Maybe too much for its plant, so I haven't touched it. I haven't, you know, personally watered it, but it's gotten a lot of rain, so I'm thinking I'll just cut off the yellow leaves maybe, and hope for the best. Honestly, hope for the best. But the rest are looking really well, okay? The rest are looking really well. And most of these over here were also planted from seed. Some of them were transplants, but the most of them were from seed. This is my section where I have some herbs. You can see that they're all really along the fence line. I thought it would be really cool if I did the herbs along the fence line this year. So that's what you'll see here. Now, you could see that right here, I'll get closer for you. Right here I have some basil. My dad planted this. I believe that's purple basil. Purple basil right there. And this right here is oregano. These were not planted from seed, unfortunately. I'm still learning how to plant herbs from seed, but these are looking really healthy, and they were from a local nursery. That's some lemon balm. Of course, you have some weeds mixed in here with the mulch. The mulch is helping to suppress weeds, but some still get through here. And then you have these beautiful echinacea plants, purple echinacea plants. These were all planted from seed, and they're literally taller than me. Well, those 2 are taller than me. And they are so beautiful. These plants are just so beautiful. So beautiful. Echinaceas might be my favorite flower of all time, next to a sunflower. When it comes to echinaceas, I am trying to figure out if there's a way for me to like trellis these, because as you can see, I had to put a little bench next to this one because it's leaning over because it got so tall. Now, we've had a lot of windy storms recently, so that could be causing it to be a little bit more like lopsided, but also I do think it might need to be trellised. So if you have echinaceas and they are really tall, how do you trellis them? What do you do? I need some help with that. Same with this one here. And in the middle of these 2, you can see I have some more herbs, sage, dill, and I think another basil. So yeah. And there's a bumblebee right there, so I'm not going to get too close. But this is a milkweed. Yeah, so I want you to see this tree behind me. Can you see that? Look at how big it is. Look at that. That is the pear tree. It is doing so much better than last year. Last year, I think I came on here and told you every week, we have no pears, we have no pears. Well, look at this, look at this. Look at how many pears are on this tree. I'm amazed, look at this. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see this? Like, wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm just in awe. Look at this. These will be ready soon. And when they are ready, I will be selling them. So I hope that if you're in the Memphis area, the greater Memphis area, I hope you like pears, because I will be selling them. Because as much as I love pears, I can't eat all these. And this, like, look at how far it goes up. Look. Look. Whoa. Whoa. Amazing. Yep. Okay, so now this bed is a little rough. Do not judge. We're gonna get this one together, but I wanted to show you something. I'm showing you everything, okay? We have to put some mulch down here, obviously, but the important thing is these seeds that I planted did germinate. I planted some seeds right there. Those are I think those are what do you call it? Super Sweet 100 right there. And then right there, you can barely see, but they germinated. Now right here, I'm gonna pull up these weeds and add some more soil, and maybe I might plant some zinnias right here. I don't know. I want to do that. Okay, y'all, that was the garden tour, and I hope you thoroughly enjoyed it. I will be having garden tours possibly weekly, like on a weekly basis, because I want you to see everything that's changing in the garden, and I still have some things to do. So keep up for more garden tours. I'll also have more farm to table tours, recipe videos, juicing, all that stuff. So look forward to all of that. Without further ado, I'm gonna get going. But remember, no matter how stressful your day is, no matter what you're going through, just keep sowing.